This is the new Yongnuo 33mm F1.4 Nikon Z mount lens. It's an APS-C lens and has a full frame equivalent of 50mm. Now in this video, I'm going to be looking at things like sharpness, as well as I'll give you some samples in both stills and video. Just a quick thank you to the team at Yongnuo for sending me out this lens to test and review, but Yongnuo aren't paying me to do this video, so any sort of findings or opinions I've got of this lens are mine alone. Opening the box, you get your manual, front and rear lens caps and lens hood. First impressions was the lens felt well built with its all metal construction, and noticed it had two function buttons. The focus ring was at the front along with a control ring for assigning different things from the menu. It had a covered USB-C port at the rear of the lens for future firmware updates, and the auto and manual focus switch, well, it looked a little different, but I'll talk more about that soon. And hang about, what is this thing? This was also in the courier box, and no, it's not Derek Zoolander's phone. I'll explain what it is in just a minute. As mentioned, it's an APS-C lens and weighs in at approximately 378 grams. Has a 58mm filter thread and aperture range is from f1.4 to f16. Lens construction is 11 elements in 9 groups and it has 9 aperture blades. Minimum focus distance is 40 centimeters. I'll be using my Nikon Z7 to test out this lens. Now, it's a full frame camera. You can actually use APS-C lenses on full frame cameras. The only thing is you'll lose out on about half, just over half your megapixels in resolution. So 45 megapixels will become 20 megapixels. And at the time of making this video, all of Nikon's APS-C cameras are 20 megapixels anyway. So I'm not going to lose out on any sort of resolution there. So I thought I'd start off by doing some sharpness test. And this shot is at f1.4. So let's push into the middle of this chart and see what we can see. So pushing into the middle, you get that nice crisp definition between those lines in the dead center there. Let's go down into the corners. Now in the corners, there is just that tiny little bit of softness, but it's not too bad realistically. You know, for a budget lens, this is a pretty good outcome. We are getting a little tiny bit of vignetting. Let's go up into the other top corner. Yeah, again, that's not too bad. It's still quite sharp up in the corner, even wide open at f1.4. Let's stop it down to say f1.8. Okay, so here's the test chart shot at f1.8. Let's push into the middle. Again, nice definition right in the center on those lines. Now in the corners, even though we've just gone, say, from f1.4 to f1.8, we've lost a bit of that vignetting and the corner's actually getting a little bit sharper. Up on the top right, it's starting to look even better now. So this is our chart shot at f2.8. Let's push into the center. Really beautiful definition between those center lines there. Now let's see what the story is like down in the corners at f2.8. Now f2.8, we've lost that vignetting and the corners are literally perfectly sharp. Same story up in the top right-hand corner as well. Here's the next test shot at f4. Let's push into the middle. Really beautiful definition in those lines in the center at f4. Down in the bottom left corner at f4, you can see we're getting that really beautiful definition, no vignetting. Same story up in the top right-hand corner. Okay, so here we go at f8. Let's push into the middle. Really wonderfully defined shot in the middle there. You can actually see the dots on the print of the test chart. Wow. And then you go down onto the left. And again, look at how beautiful and sharp that bottom left corner is. Let's see what the top right's doing. Yeah, up in the top right as well, nice and sharp. And here's our last test chart shot at f11. In the middle, just spot on, perfectly sharp. And then in the bottom left, again, nice results there. To give you some sort of idea of the type of bokeh you can get out of this lens, here's a shot of E.T. in the garden. Yes, Yoda is on sick leave at the moment, so I'm using E.T. this time. Here's some shots going from f1.4 through to f11. Okay, so what's with this little tiny remote? Well, its official name is the BRL1, and it's actually compatible with all the Yongnuo Commander series lenses. You can use this to manually change things like aperture and focus away from the camera. And by the way, this is an optional accessory and is not included with the lens. Let me show you how it works. Okay, so once you've paired the remote with the lens, it's pretty easy to do that. You just got to follow the instructions through the manual. You just basically push down on this button right here, and that gives you your aperture over on the left-hand side. So I can adjust my aperture now. You can see that it's just changing by twisting the knob left and right. So I'll leave it open at say F1.4. Let's just get that to 1.4. Now I'm going to change my focus. At the moment we're out of focus. I'm just going to pull focus onto, you can see my D850 in the background there. I've got the red highlight happening, so that will tell me that it's in focus, as well as I'm just going to push through now, through to ET here, and you'll see the focus peaking. We'll just go on to ET's hand right there. So this would kind of come in handy when you're away from the camera and you can still adjust both the focus and the aperture. On the back, you've also got a little type of 1/4 thread here, and with the remote, you get this little tiny 1/4 grub screw. It's a double-sided 1/4 thread that you could screw into, say, a tripod or a gimbal. Now, with this button on the side of the lens, you can actually set it up to act as a normal auto and manual focus switch, but you can also set it up so you can turn on and off your BRL1 remote control. So I took this lens out for the day. I took it to my local city's botanic gardens. I also fired off some shots just outside my studio here in my bird garden. So here's a montage in both stills and video using the Yongnuo 33mm F1.4 Nikon Z mount lens. At the time of making this video, the Yongnuo 33mm F1.4 Nikon Z mount lens retails for $268 US. The little tiny optional remote control, it retails for just under $59 US. And if you want any more information about both of these items, I've left you a link in the video description box below. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed the review. Never stop creating, and I'll see you next time.